Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your mid-April 2020 General Tarot Update. It's Rena here. That's the train. I'm going to let the train pass. Hopefully it's a short train, not a 10-minute train. But anyway, I'm actually starting this reading over again. I did a life path reading not too long ago, and it was for April, just from a philosophical perspective, and I got so many signs that had the Hermit in it, especially in this same position. Now that's the mind blower, because what are the odds of that? And I think Sag was one of the signs, and this is the general tarot reading, even on the mundane level. The Hermit card, of course, a lot of us, by circumstances, are forced to maybe either be alone or be more keeping to oneself. And this kind of thing, maybe that's why I kept getting the card in general, but if you see, the person is holding a lantern, and the lantern represents light, but it's an inner light. So anything that has been going on in your life that where you feel that you have been kind of keeping to yourself in order to preserve that light, because other people can't handle it, it's too bright for them, it's blinding their eyes. And what I mean by that can be like some kind of a spiritual awakening that kind of pushes people away unintentionally, because you're just changing so much that other people can't really understand what's going on, and you may not resonate with them either. So it's kind of like repelling people who you used to be around. And even I think this sense of like in the workplace, the same thing, where you think about how other people impact you, and even in some cases, it doesn't have to be just coworker issues. It can be simply, hey, I can do this by myself. I don't need to work for somebody else. I can be a consultant. I can, I have what it takes to take my skills and start my own business. But I don't think it's just simply, I want the freedom. It's something connected to your spiritual awakening, because we have the High Priestess here as well. So it's not just one card. And so there might be a lot going on with you in general, not just with one area of life. I did get this feeling when I pulled these cards of kind of a battle between the material and the spiritual. And I think it's more like a wanting to find balance, or being able to incorporate one into the other, because we have here in the past position the Four of Pentacles, and this is the card of holding on to your money, and sometimes a little bit too tightly. And I'm a Sun in Sagittarius myself, and I had that experience. And one thing I have to say, now that I think about it astrologically, is that with all this energy in the second house, which is the house of earned income, with Capricorn, so we've got Pluto there for many years. We have Saturn there. We have, Saturn is currently in Aquarius, but it's going to go back into that sign. We have Jupiter, which is the ruler of Sag, and that's good. But Mars, I don't know if Mars has gone into Capricorn yet. I think it has, because it must, because there's a conjunction between Mars and Pluto. So we have so much in Capricorn. And we're going to have a lunar eclipse in Capricorn in July. So some Sages may have, had kind of this situation with their money, either in the past year or in recent years, that have made you more, wanting to have material security and holding on to what you have, and yet that can lead to an imbalance spiritually. And so the Hermit is about seeking, understanding the truth about your sustenance. And that is something that I can personally attest to. And it's something that I always knew, but sometimes you get distracted from that based on other things that are happening. The higher message, the Queen of Swords, and this is a card of, to me, this is supposed to be more of the philosophical side of things, or the bigger picture. The Queen of Swords is about not letting your emotions get in the way of making a decision that you may have to make. An example would be, let's say, in your work life. If you have been furloughed, or whatever you want to call it, from your job because of what's been going on, and having that time off, which you don't normally do, has put your life in a whole different perspective. And that is, I think, why I keep getting the Hermit, because it might be a forced isolation, but it still will yield the same results than if somebody is actively looking for answers to their life. And you might have realized, wow, I'm so much less stressed right now. I'm so much more, I have such a better quality of sleep. You may have even been wondering why some people have been upset, because you might have, if you have a certain job where you get paid no matter what, or you have good, benefits anyway, then you may not have suffered that much financially. Or if you're going to get unemployment, whatever, you might just be like, I can, or you have a lot of money saved, let's say. You may not have experienced that kind of fear about your economic situation as some other people may have. And you may be kind of perplexed. Why is everybody so unhappy about this? Well, not everybody is. Some people are waking up to the fact that they were kind of on this, I call it the hamster wheel, where they're just like going through the motions, but they don't have time to be upset or to think about it, because they're just kind of, doing what they need to do in survival mode, maybe. And when you don't have a choice in the matter, and the universe forces you to kind of stop, some people are waking up to the fact that they weren't happy, and that they want to be happy. And Sagittarius really love freedom. So if you have been, if your job requires you to work long hours, or you just feel like you're tied to the job because you always have to, even in your off hours, deal with things, and you kind of live, breathe, and sleep work, perhaps this has given you a bit of a respite from that, and you have to make a decision whether you're going to go back into the fray when this is all over, or whether you're going to forge a new course, a new path. And I didn't mention any kind of relationship, but this could even be like a Virgo. The Hermit is actually connected to the sign of Virgo, and you have Four of Pentacles, which can be an earth sign individual. The other earth signs are Capricorn and Taurus. And this type of relationship may be because you're looking for somebody who is stable. But Sagittarius need also stimulation. They can't just have, I'm saying this as a general rule, not necessarily the gospel, but Sagittarius tend to need that kind of, I don't know how I would put it. I don't want to say drama, because drama isn't necessarily a good thing, but, larger than life perspective on life. And maybe that's why I'm with a fellow Sagittarian, because I think that fire signs tend to be very expansive, and they see life as this great drama that unfolds. And I think Sagittarius know better than to take life too seriously, but by the same token, they have reverence for what life represents. So having somebody who shares that, who's not just about going through the motions. Something's going on with you, Sag, where money is, you may be giving it too much importance, and it may symbolize something to you that it really cannot deliver. So for instance, security sounds like a good thing, and it sounds like if you have X amount of money in the bank, that's going to just do it for you and make you feel secure. But it doesn't work that way, because people tend to want more and more, and it's never enough. So what becomes one, figure or goal, financial goal, can just keep going if the person inside doesn't feel that they have enough. Also, in the workplace, if you're doing a job that doesn't really fulfill you, but the pay is good, that could also be the Four of Pentacles that's kind of influencing things. But it's, eating away at you because you're spending so much time doing something you don't want to do. So this respite gives you the opportunity to have a little bit of distance from it, different perspective, and then you can make a decision of how you want to go. Now remember that we're experiencing the beginning of the eclipse season for Sag and Gemini. There's going to be a lunar eclipse for Sag on June 5th. So some things are leaving our lives that are connected to it right now. And we have to be prepared for change and not be afraid of it, because it, just like we've seen with this shutdown, things can happen in the blink of an eye to change your life. And you can either go with the flow, or you can resist it and not accept it, but it's not going to change if you don't accept it. What crosses you is the Ace of Cups, and this is, now I'm starting to see things a little bit more clearly. So I think that some of you are wanting a career in the healing arts and something spiritual or creative matters. Although I would kind of lean more towards a spiritual profession. What do they call that? Soulpreneur instead of entrepreneur, soulpreneur, something like that. But so this may be blocked from you because you haven't fully embraced the concept. These readings it's kind of funny. There's kind of almost arbitrary to designate a certain period of time, because it's really a snapshot in time. If it resonates with you, not meant to be like, the middle of the month, specifically. Just whenever I do the reading is really when it's for that time. And so if you've been wrestling with beginning something new in this area, is there anything else you need to do to prepare beforehand? So in other words, let's say that you are somebody who got Reiki done on you, or you went to get attuned, you got attuned to the first level, and you really felt something, and you really felt like this is your path, but you haven't delved more into it. Well, then in order to do it professionally, you have to, do the second level, and even beyond is good because you get more and more experience, training, what have you. And maybe that's what you need to do before you do anything else if you're still working another job, and you don't have to do everything at once. Sometimes Sages are so, I don't know if it's because of enthusiasm or we bite off more than we can chew. The Ace of Cups doesn't mean that you can't start something in this area. It just means that maybe the timing is off. I mean, the way things are, very up in the air. Obviously, it's hard to launch things because other people may be preoccupied with their lives, and it's just things are not, in their normal state. So that might mean it's almost like having all the planets retrograde or something. So it might be the best thing to kind of do other things in the meantime that you can. Probably can't get any attunements right now, but you could research other angles of what exactly are you going to offer? What are you going to do? If you've already, you could even start creating a website. Who knows? Or coming up with name for your company. Just things like that. And yeah, so what's coming in? Another spiritual card, the High Priestess. This can be about really honoring the mystery, I think, too. This is like be still and know. Sitting in meditation, communing with your higher self. I think being comfortable with not having all the answers right now. The Hermit, to me, is kind of an active seeker of whatever it is that they want in the terms of their spiritual life. The High Priestess is kind of like, transcending the need for that. It's like whatever is in this moment is what it is, and I'm just tuning into my higher self. And I feel like both of these cards represent the spiritual process. One more active, but both contemplative for sure. And definitely seems to be something that Sages are really all about. Interestingly, in May, on May 7th, there's going to be a full moon in Scorpio, and Scorpio is the 12th house for Sagittarius. So that may be a time when something spiritual kind of is made aware to you, and it gives you more guidance. And in the meantime, this may be the time to simply tune into the higher frequencies and tune out the noise of the world. And then here we have as the outcome something material again, and this is the king of, I was going to say the king of finance, the king of pentacles. So we have the king of pentacles and the four of pentacles, both great cards for money, for prosperity and things of that nature. And to me, kind of an active, self-directed interaction with finance. What that says to me is that when you're doing something, there's a book that I have, it's called Do What You Love and the Money Will Follow. And whatever the money means for you, that's also an important thing. The King of Pentacles is definitely connected to a lot of money, having mastery over money, power over your life when it deals with money. And therefore, for Sag, that is freedom, because you don't have to worry about working somewhere you don't want to work because you need the money, or being with somebody that you don't want to be with because you can't support yourself. So whatever it is that comes about, and again, don't just look at it as in the middle of the month, but in, let's say, the next few months, maybe the rest of 2020, Pluto has that effect of, like, sometimes turning somebody's life upside down. It can be the destroyer, but it can resurrect itself. And so if you have felt like your finances are a disaster, okay, and you feel like, maybe it's been a problem for a while now, to the point where you don't think it's ever going to get better, the King of Pentacles suggests otherwise. And Jupiter is, because Jupiter is, I can't even remember some of these conjunctions, like when they're actually occurring. I know that Jupiter and Pluto are forming a conjunction, and I think it's in this time frame. But anyway, it's in 2020. And one of the things about that is, because Jupiter is such a positive thinker, it can transform your life in this house of earned income. And both of these planets can indicate wealth. So understand that wherever you are right now, if you feel like this is absurd, like you're anything but wealthy, realize that, first of all, you hold more power than you know, that you create your reality, or you could say you co-create your reality. Maybe there are some things that are out of your control, but you still have the freedom to respond to things in different ways, and some of them may be more productive than others. But you are able to make choices. You're not completely at the mercy of life by any stretch of the imagination. So you can create wealth for yourself. Sagittarians are meant to live an abundant life because the ruler is Jupiter. That just should be second nature. So if you don't have that, even if you're somebody who considers yourself a minimalist, or you don't really feel like a materialistic person, it doesn't mean that you have to be self-indulgent, but you can attract wealth to you. And the King of Pentacles is about taking charge of your finances, but it's in conjunction with the spiritual, with the High Priestess. So it's probably, I would say, how you speak about your financial situation, how you view yourself as a conscious co-creator, how that really impacts you in terms of making these things happen. And I'm very excited, being a Sag myself. I have this workbook, and I'm going to be doing it. I haven't done it yet. I'm going to go through it myself, but I would love to start a group. If I speak to the author, to see if that would be acceptable, because it would be very interesting to. It's a law of attraction type of a thing, to kind of have a group of people who are interested in creating more abundance for themselves. Again, not for self-indulgence, but enjoyment in life, freedom, a sense that you don't have to worry every moment, like what's going to happen and that kind of thing. So I hope that you enjoyed this, Sag. If you would like a personal reading, like an astrological reading especially, since that's what I mainly do, please click on the link below to see my online offerings, or my online store, I should say. Also, just to let you know, my website is rainamoonastrology.com. Take care. Bye.